Good morning and welcome back, Mr. Milbury.
Hello, everybody. How are we?
How was the off season?
It was good. It was a great summer on the Cape. It was perfect weather. In fact, it's still beautiful today. It's been awesome. But I want to talk about the pigs. Where was this pig pet from?
Metro West.
Somewhere in Metro West.
Metro West. Well, I mean, if they have a big farm or something, I guess you can keep a pig. But
Are you looking to adopt?
No, I was just going to advise people who live next to the WEI area. They could come in. They have their pick of pigs to pet.
Oh.
I thought you wanted some bacon, like me.
No.
Do you have a pet? Do you have a dog?
No, I don't have a dog. I don't believe in those pets.
Oh.
Sorry. No, I'm not a dog. We have neighbors down here in New Seabury who walk their dogs in carriages. That's going a little too far for me.
Well, if they're a little older, then, you got to get them around.
I'm talking about the dogs. No, the dogs are fine. It's the people that are older.
Oh, I see.
That is a lot when you're walking your pet around in a carriage.
They get tired.
I understand. But all right. Well, listen, this team, as we sit here this morning, about 500. Are you disappointed so far?
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised either. There's a ton of changes. They needed a talented center, so they go out and get Lindholm. They need a big thumper on the blue line. They get Zadorov, probably the two best guys at that position available. But they focused on size. They brought in a host of other guys, and so I don't know if that was a reaction to their losses to Florida the last couple of years, where they kind of got beat up a little bit physically. But so far, the group, which is huge, looks a little slow, looks a little out of sync, and it looks a little undisciplined. And if you recall the last couple of years, they were a puck possession team. I mean, they owned the puck. They moved the puck brilliantly around the ice, but they're still feeling the after effects of no Bergeron and no Krejci. If they've gone to a more dump and chase style, that's sort of a throwback kind of approach, and hence the size. But the size is no good if there's not any speed. If you've got size and no speed, it's a recipe for disaster. Checking requires that you got to have a lot of hard work. You got to have foot speed and anticipation. You got to be able to get there, even if you don't bang. That's why the game has mostly been transferred to skating people. And if you get in the face of a defenseman trying to move the puck out of zone, doesn't matter if you thump him, but you get in his line of vision, you can impair it and you can disrupt it. And the thump is great. I mean, that's what the Bruins did under Don Cherry, what the Bruins did under Harry Sinden. They were the big bad Bruins, but I don't know if there's time for that right now. And the last two games, even against Utah in particular, but against Nashville too, for the most part, they were definitely the slower team.
Mike, one of the other things that we've kind of seen pop up again this season, and we talked about it last year, is obviously defensively turning the puck over and then defensively losing track of guys, especially in front of the net. How can they clean up some of those issues?
That should be easy. That really should be easy. I mean, McAvoy should be a dominant player on the blue line. He's been inconsistent, and he's got to get over that inconsistency and earn his paycheck. I'm a little tired of Hampus Lindholm. It looks like he's just blasé out there. I mean, this guy was incredible in his first full season, and I don't know. It just looks like he's collecting a paycheck and not doing what there's no passion to his game. And the game is passionate. You got to have gumption. You got to have some fire in the belly, for lack of a better phrase. But this guy just seems to be, okay. Against Nashville, he throws a backhand pass up the middle of the ice that just goes through. Luckily, he got through everybody and went to the other end of the ice. But you don't do that when you're a veteran like that. You don't make that kind of silly play. He just seems careless and really not very committed. And that's not a good thing for a player of that skill level.
Are you concerned about the lack of production from Brad Marchand?
You know what? 3 off-season surgeries. He's 36 years old. He's put on the second line, and I think you can only hope that he's going to come around, and I'm sure he will. He's too hard a competitor not to have some better production than this. But they have a lot of players still not playing in the right position. I mean, I happen to think Lindholm was a second-line center, not a top-line center. I don't think Zach is a top-line forward. I think Charlie Coyle he's a favorite of mine, but every time I say that, I get in trouble because I say he's a favorite of mine on the third line. He's a beast there. That's where he's comfortable. That's where he should be comfortable. Give him credit for sort of stepping up a little bit when he was asked to play second line, but his position should be third line player, and so should Zaga. But that gives you holes somewhere else. No team's perfect, and the Bruins are trying to patch holes where, it's really not the right spot for certain guys. But it's what every team has to do, and we'll see how it works out. But what does concern me is the lack of discipline. I mean, against Utah, Marchand turned the puck over, and Utah scored. It got turned over because it was offside, but Montgomery went down there and smacked him on the shoulder pad. Didn't hurt him or anything. It was not child abuse, but, I mean, you could see the coach's anger.
Yeah.
Zadorov has a penalty in every game. Lots of stick infractions. That means you're not getting there in time. You got to reach out and pull somebody back or trip somebody because you're there a day late and a dollar short, and that's not a good thing.
Well, it seems to me like your fourth line has really been your best line so far.
It's not even a question mark. I mean, everybody had Kosteluk as a fourth line player, but he looks more like, and I know Montgomery said this, we're playing him 12 minutes, maybe we should be playing him 17. He's probably right based on what the other lines have done. But you're not going to go far in the playoffs if you're relying on your fourth line, who's going to play that 12 minutes a game. It's just not going to happen. You got to have better production, better performance. Montgomery talked about the process. What's the process? It's the process is everybody working together to get in on the forecheck with some speed. And if that's the process, you wonder whether they followed the right recipe in getting to that end.
Mike, you talk about how many surgeries Marchand's had. That's going to be coming to an end pretty soon, that career, and there will be a changing of the guard. Obviously, it'll be Pasta, Coyle, McAvoy, those guys. But when you look at the offseason acquisitions, who's the future of this team? Who do you think can actually make an impact and stay with the Bruins for the long term?
Well, they have to be betting on Lindholm and Zadorov. They gave them long-term contracts and put a lot of investment into them, so they have to be there. I don't know about some of the other guys. What is Frederick going to be in the end? Can he push himself to a second line position? You'd like to hope that he could do that. Potra, he looks a little. He's smart and he's cagey. I'm a little worried about his foot speed. I mean, he's agile, but not very fast going from point A to point B. Lots of question marks for me as to who's going to be there, but they certainly need another centerman with good skill and good speed and can deliver pucks to the wingers that should be able to put them away.
Mike, sensitive topic, I know, but what'd you think of the big long-term extension for the young goalie in the Bruins?
I thought they should have given it to him 2 months earlier. I think he's going to be a bargain in 5 years. He's their best player by far. I'm worried about the second goaltender that was kind of a salary dump from Ottawa. I think it was a salary dump. I don't think the Bruins were in the market for a goaltender. They've got some other options in the minor leagues right now. But Swayman is he's their best player. He's going to be their best player for a while. And I just don't know how many games he can stick under his belt and be as effective. He's not he's a really skinny kid, but he's a competitor and he works efficiently. So I think he's going to get 60 games, which is what the old-time goaltenders used to get, or at least in the last 25 years.
I'm talking a lot lately about job security as it relates to Gerard Mayo, but how about Jim Montgomery?
It's really hard to pin it on him. He's had great regular season success, and that's not what counts, right? I mean, what counts is going deep into the playoffs, but I don't know that you could argue against the position that he's taken them as far as they could go. And, Florida beat them the last 2 years, and they've lost to them twice already, once without Tkachuk and Barkov in the lineup, which is not a good sign. But again, it's early. But I think probably he maxed them out. I mean, you could argue the first year that they lost to Florida, he should have made a goaltending change, and that might have made a difference. I would agree with that, but we'll never know. But if this thing falls apart, then they may want to make a change because they've made investments in a lot of people for like Lindholm and Zadorov for the long term, and they expected better results from them. But it's early. Let's wait and see how it goes the rest of the way. They need some time to come together as a group, but there are definite concerns. I mean, the questions about their speed, about Lindholm and players out of position. So And Marchand, he's got to find his mojo. I think he will to a certain extent, but Courtney's right. It's 36 years old, and the end is closer than the beginning.
Mike, we've kind of had this conversation here. Obviously, you're the expert. You know a lot better than us. I think a lot of our expectations, here, we believe that the Bruins should be able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and if they don't, then there's a good chance that Montgomery gets fired. What is your expectations with this team? Is it Eastern Conference Finals?
I'd say that would be my expectation. I don't see them being better than that. If you have one center who's a bona fide top six center and not another one, till you find another one, there's a major hole in your lineup. And it's not easy to find them. But as again, I refer to Krejci and Bergeron. That was such a great tandem for so long. And they left such a big hole. And now they've patched it a little bit with Lindholm. And they need to find some magic in another center position, because it all drives through that center position as far as I'm concerned.
Mike Milbury, so great to have you back on Bruins Thursday.
All right, guys, good to see you.
Enjoy walking the pets or whatever you're going to do.
And I enjoyed Wiggy's theory on beers, or his, I don't know. You can't go wrong Googling anything.
Right.
Everything's good on Google. It's 100% true, isn't it?
I mean, that's what it is.
Up here, he is way off.
Google it.
There